Yeah, it's really interesting. It's a lot of progress. I give Goodyear a lot of credit for going to work. Last year I felt like this was one of the tracks with the least amount of tire fall off, and it really hindered the ability for, I think, great action. Like everything in the sport, when we change, it's never like a little bit. It's like, whoa, all the way to the other end of the spectrum. So the knob got cranked, and it'll be interesting to see how it affects the race.
What do you think of the changes to the track? It looks like people are using every bit of turn one that they can use.
Yeah.
Is it rougher? I mean, I assume you feel it.
It just it didn't take, right? The changes that, somebody went out there and really worked hard on grinding the track and doing a whole bunch of things, and it hasn't made a huge difference yet. So I feel bad for whoever that guy was. Everybody sweated his guts out, but unfortunately that hasn't really came into play yet.
Why do you think so? Why hasn't it? Why do you think?
I don't know. I guess we all probably thought it was going to be rougher or something to that effect, and it's really fairly tolerable. I can barely notice it.
So you watch the early guys go out, and you're just like, all right, guess we can.
Yeah, I mean, everybody just went over and like, oh, it cleaned out a lot. It was really dirty. Maybe they need to fill it with dirt. I don't know. But when the ARCA guys were here yesterday, it was all dirt and it was really unusable. But now it's cleaned out. It's pretty usable.
So it doesn't seem to I guess the thing is, if the tire thing is heat related and not wear related so much, it doesn't really matter if you go over that. That's not wearing your tires more.
Well, I think it is. It's both. It's heat and wear. And I would say it's probably wearing the tires more, but there's so much speed it probably doesn't matter. There's just a lot of speed out there.
So how does the speed change the bus stop then, with not having that big turtle there? And
it definitely takes away a passing zone, which is, I think part of the reason for doing the other changes on the track is to try to create passing zones back, like kind of a trade of 1 for 2, or what do you want to call it, 2 for 1. And that just hasn't played out yet. But you know what? We haven't ran the race yet, and maybe to Jeff's point, it will wear the tires out. It will turn into passing zones with guys that decide to run that area slipping and sliding.
Brad, not a great qualifying position. How do you feel about your positioning for these next 2 races?
Here, not so great. Bristol's been really good to us. We just want to be in fighting range for Bristol, and even if we're not in fighting range, I think we have a great shot to win.
What do you consider fighting range?
I don't know, within 10, 20 points. I look at the guys we're around, and I'm prepared to go to Bristol and run real hard and have a great car and make it count.
You guys going to try to get stage points, you think, here?
I'm not sure yet. We're going to go over our strategy here in a few minutes when I leave here, so we'll decide that then. It's going to be a really dynamic race, so it's going to be hard to say, hey, we're going to do X, because we don't really know what's going to happen.
Are your expectations for Bristol pretty much the same as the spring, or?
Yeah, I think everybody has those expectations that the track's going to just grind the tires up. We, NASCAR had a test there, I guess a couple months ago, and went through a couple different variations, and nothing seemed to stop the tire wear. It's really baffling. Last fall we went there, and there was no tire wear, and it was kind of a shame because it really took away a big dynamic of that race. Then we come in the spring with allegedly no changes, and we can't run 50 laps. So it's kind of like I don't know. I'm not the engineer or scientist, but one of these things ain't like the other. But we came back for the test with ideas of what it might have been, and it didn't make a difference from what I understand. So, you got an idea, Reed?
Well, I mean, Goodyear said that they thought most of the issue was temp related. So
yeah, so they went on a 90-degree day and it did the same thing.
Right.
Okay.
But other than that, I have no idea.
Me either.
Do you think so? Teams will just plan for the same tire wear that they had in the spring and adjust their
most likely, yes. Yeah, it's the sensible thing to do at this moment. But you can't speak for everybody.
I mean, so do you think it'll be comers and goers in there, or do you think everybody's going to do the same thing?
Absolutely. I think it'll be another one of those races where you're just trying to get 50 laps out of your tires and survive. Which honestly, I had a ton of fun with that race in the spring. it was different, but it was interesting.
And it'd be a lot of fun being on the bubble and trying to figure out if you're going to be the guy that be the caution.
Yeah, but you know what? That's what these playoffs are. What's different about that than any other playoff race? Good, y'all quiet today.
Miles, so there's none of that anymore. It's just kind of fine-tuning everything. Like we talk about thousands of inches, making a big difference of travel, and that's all you can do really is like travel with the car and cambers and tows and shocks and springs, and it's pretty basic. Honestly, nowadays it's just who does it efficiently, more efficient than the other people, and that's all you can do really. Yeah. So there's no putting it in the closet for 3 months and then breaking it back out. That's a thing of the past.
Ryan, what do you expect of Bristol next weekend?
It's a great question. I don't know. I have no idea. We saw how the first race was, and from my understanding, nothing's changed. So I don't know if it's going to be the same. It's not going to be the same, even if it's the same situation, because teams are going to learn and they're going to take cambers out and they're going to be smarter with tire wear. But yeah, I don't know what to expect. I just hope I don't blow a tire. What's that?
It'll be cooler next weekend than we normally go there. It's going to be in the upper 70s and be colder at night.
Yeah. I don't know. I won't sweat as much in the car. That'd be all right. That's all I know.
Did you like the racing in the spring, or was it too chaotic?
I mean, I'm back and forth on that racing. I thought it was really cool and great, that you had these tires that wear out crazy. I just wish we would have known this ahead of time. Going. I think that's what, as a driver and a part of the race team, like that unknown, have no idea that's what is to be expected. That just throws everybody for a loop. Kind of would like a little bit more experience than that. Is that what NASCAR and people want? Probably not. The best moments are when it's unexpected, but to some extent I'd like to kind of half-ass know what's going on. So I thought it was good, but fall off is great, but you got to get more than 50 laps on it before you blow a tire. You got to have a fine line in there, so we'll see what happens.
With how wild it was, and you had a good day last week, points-wise, how comfortable? Like, how many points above the line do you feel like you have to be comfortable?
I don't know. I don't know what it is to clinch, like mid-50s, high 50s, or something like that. So, I mean, we're close. Hopefully we can go have a good day tomorrow. If we can't win and be really good on points to where, that's not like in the top of our minds. So just try to take it one week at a time and execute each week. Did a great job last week of doing well the first half of the race and coming back from our issue, getting caught up in that wreck at the end and driving through the field and getting a good finish. So that's what you got to do. And that's what this team did good last week. And I'd like to not have those issues of getting spun out and having to bond to the car all up, but we overcame it. So hopefully we can, just keep going.
What did Cindric tell you about what he experienced in the tire test here back in June?
A lot of fall off. Yeah. When he did it initially, there was 4 or 5 seconds of fall off, and then the wheel force test they had here a couple months ago, it was like 2.5 seconds. It might be a little less than that because teams will get smarter of kind of just how they set up the car and prepare for tire fall off. But I think it's good we have fall off. This place needed it pretty badly, so hopefully that makes the racing well. Comers and goers, stuff like that. So yeah, I think the biggest thing that he told me was just the fall off piece of it and what to expect. So all the incest, or the what are you guys calling them? The recessed rumble strips. Rumble strips. He said half of them weren't done when he was here, so he didn't know what to expect. But seeing them this morning and walking the track, they're a little different than I expected. They're not as deep as I thought they would be, but they're really sharp. Like the edges of them are super sharp. So I'd be curious to see how that affects the tire wear, especially with this tire that falls off. So are you going to pay a penalty for going out there, which hopefully that's the case. Like you should be able to have to pay a penalty every lap you go out there and choose tire up. So we'll find out here in a little bit.
I don't think I'll be able to look at those the same now.
Sorry.
Hey, I'm curious, what is the first time that you remember seeing somebody wearing a T-shirt of yours, or when as a kid having somebody else ask you for an autograph, and what that was like, or how your autographs evolved?
The first T-shirts that we ever made, I was running late models, probably in 2008, something like that, with the past series. So that was kind of the first time I saw people with my name on. Obviously, I saw people with my dad's shirts on a lot, but the first one was we made. I remember that. And first autograph was before that. I was in quarter midgets probably, and honestly, it was before quarter midgets because fans of my dad and grandpa would want me to sign their stuff when they found out I was going to race, and I would just sign my name normal. RYANBLANEY. And someone showed me that, and it was just my name printed on their hat. It's changed a little bit, but yeah, my signature, my autograph hasn't changed in a long time. It's kind of stuck with the same thing. It's easy to remember, so it's don't switch that up too much.
Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.
Sorry, I got you.
Thank you.
Maybe because the camber was off and it wasn't the exact tire that we're going to have here this weekend, but in your simulation and your preparation, have you found the tire to be falling off and handling?
I mean, certainly they have made the tire very slick, but all of the simulators, whether it's Chevrolet, Ford, or Toyota, it's all a complete guess and estimation of grip levels. So I don't think anything that you do on the simulator can really compare to the unknowns of a brand new tire. So those 3 cars that did the tire test, they're the only ones that would know what it's going to feel like, and we're about to find out. But I have been told it's very slick.
Do you think the rumble strips out of 1 and into, I guess, out of the carousel will do anything?
I don't know. I mean, looking at the Xfinity practice and then the ARCA race, it seemed like they could run over him pretty well and not have very many issues. But, if we have a bunch of tire degradation, the last thing that you're going to want to do is run over those very rough and hurt the tires. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit of a game where there might be a little bit of speed running out there, but it might be a risk versus reward of hurting the longevity of the tires. So, but like I said, it's all complete guesswork right now until we get out there and see what it's like.
How could that kind of fall off? If it does turn out being 3 seconds per lap, how does it affect like your strategy in the race, pit stops and stuff like that?
I think that it could have a big implication on it, and especially here at Watkins Glen and in the majority of the road courses, it's such a big advantage to jump the stages, to pit before the stages, and then you end up having to ride around on your tires until the yellow flag comes out. So if the tire degradation is as big as we're expecting, it's going to deter people from wanting to jump the stages, and it's going to encourage you to pit at the yellow flags. So it's going to be a great game between track position and tires, and we don't know how it's going to play out until we get into the race.
Do you anticipate it maybe being a little bit like what we saw in Bristol back in the spring? Completely different tracks.
That's what they're hoping for, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Completely different tracks.
I think that's what they're hoping for.
What was it like having Adam back last week?
It was great. I mean, I didn't really notice much difference, but yeah, I mean, it was, other than him being there and having his presence around the team, I think is important. But as far as on-track performance, I don't really think it made much of a difference.
What is the difference? Like, obviously, he'd be back in Charlotte or wherever, and what's the difference between them?
Yeah, I mean, probably the biggest difference is most of the time after all the normal races. Now Atlanta's a little bit different because we don't have practice, but like after we get done practice and qualifying, I'll go back to the hauler and we'll debrief. And without him at the racetrack, it was all done over Zoom and phone calls and stuff like that. So certainly I think that there's a piece of body language that gets missed on debriefing whenever he's not at the racetrack. So it'll be nice to have him there and be a part of the debrief today.
What did you learn during your research this morning, or what do you think did you see anything that was like, oh, now we're gonna have to race this way or do this or do that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I learned anything on my track walk other than just verifying what the pictures that have been shown to us look like. And yeah, I mean, the bus stop I think is going to be the biggest change. Just I think it's going to open up the entry speed into the bus stop a little bit, maybe make it a little bit more sketchy whenever you get to that second curve trying to make the bend. The rumbles on the outside of 1 and the outside of the carousel through the ARCA race and the Xfinity race, it didn't seem like it had a big play on it. So yeah, I mean, the tire is still an unknown, and we don't know how that's going to play until really we get into the race. So I think that there's still a lot to learn.
Did you have any headaches and stuff after this race last year, for them to make that change in the bus stop?
Fortunately, I think I was on the good side of the setup and my interior car setup with my headrest and my seat, because I didn't really notice a big adjustment from the old car to the next gen car. But I am all for making it safer. Even if I didn't have issues, other people did have issues, and I don't want to, have any of our drivers get head injuries or anything close to that by, a normal racing condition.
So going to Bristol again next weekend, given the surprise of what happened this spring, you guys know that could be a possibility. How do you think that'll affect what you guys do going into that race and how you race?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to have a big impact on car setup whenever you go back there. And the thing that's pretty tricky is, what are you optimizing to? If we know that we're optimizing to the spring style race, it is going to be a lot different than what you're optimizing to if you have a normal Bristol race. So, and that can certainly, it's going to catch people off guard. If the thing starts to take rubber and you're optimized to the low tire wear package, you're going to be struggling in performance. And then, same goes the other way. If you optimize towards a normal rubbered up Bristol race and the thing starts chewing tires off, you're going to be running out of tires faster than the other guys. So it's going to be interesting.
This is Custom Patch Hats. But what makes us custom? Well, that actually begins with you. We're just bringing your unique vision to life. No knockoffs, no lookalikes. Your design is one of a kind. We know hats, we know design, and we know quality. The proof? It's in our production. Hand-stitched with precision and care, with brands you know and trust. A one-of-a-kind patch deserves a one-of-a-kind treatment, all the way to your doorstep. It's how we keep it custom.
Steven Stump of Frontstretch.com here. Come back for more great racing videos, and if you like us, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.